Hey, what's going on, y'all? Now, today's video, this one's titled, Don't Hold Yourself Back. Now, in life, there's going to be things we want to achieve, things we set out to accomplish. And while setting out to accomplish those things, more often than not, you're going to run into obstacles preventing you, or just standing in your way of getting that thing done. And it's altogether too easy to turn those obstacles into things, into excuses, into reasons, perhaps, why we shouldn't set out and accomplish those things. We let our fear of those obstacles, our fear of failure, our fear of rejection, whatever it might be, stop us from accomplishing the things we set out to accomplish. And here I would counsel you, don't hold yourself back. You know, sometimes these obstacles are legitimate reasons. They're things that actually stand in our way, and they're insurmountable. And should you be facing an obstacle like this, you know, it's not exactly what the video's about. But I would also encourage you that there are some really, powerful stories out there of people who had obstacles that seemed insurmountable, and when they put the effort forward to try and surmount them, they overcame it. They conquered it. So, there's really no excuses. But in those moments where you have, it's an excuse. For example, this morning I was laying in bed feeling nice and warm, and it's pretty cold out nowadays. And I was laying in bed feeling nice and warm, nice and toasty. And man, getting out of bed and facing that cold, yeah, that's no fun. That's an obstacle to me going to the gym this morning. Guess what I got my ass in the car doing? Going to the gym. Simple as that. You gotta surmount these obstacles. We can't let our fears hold us back. Our comfortability, our us being comfortable in our situation, keep us from breaking outside that comfort zone. Had a comment talking about eating, and how eating is a lot more difficult than overcoming retention. Eating good, eating better. And I would say to that if you prioritize eating better, if you make it your goal to eat better, and actually put forth determined effort to make that happen, you shouldn't be struggling. Or maybe it will be a struggle. Maybe it will be a struggle. But as long as you're putting forth determined effort, it'll become easier and easier to make that happen. You cannot hold yourself back with the excuse of, it's kind of harder. You have to push past that kind of harder and make it happen. It's the only way. It's like, how do you think a lot of other people started eating better? They didn't just start eating better. They had to push past the part of themselves that didn't want to eat better. They had to deprogram their minds. Again, make eating better more appetizing in whatever way they did that. Season your food better. I eat a lot of soups. You know what I'm saying? Soup is fire to me. I like corn, I make steamed corn all the time. Find what you like that's healthier and prioritize eating that. It's as simple as that. We cannot hold ourselves back with excuses. It's when we start to do that we become stagnant in life. That we maintain our little comfort zone because we're too afraid, or we're not determined enough to go beyond it. And I say this a lot, but stagnation leads to rot, and rot leads to decomposition. You start breaking down, you start depreciating over time when you stay stagnant. It's once you make it a priority to break past those comfort zones, to break past, the areas where you feel you're most secure, and go into a new territory, that you encounter growth, that you engage in moving past, your previous boundaries. I think that should be all of our goals. Breaking our boundaries, moving that, boundary line further and further every day. It's once you get farther and farther past your boundary line that you start making progress. You start going forward. And if you're not going forward, you're staying in place. If you're staying in place, you're being stagnant. You're rotting and decomposing. And that's not the way. So, I counsel you, Don't hold yourself back. Prioritize pushing past your fears, pushing past, your comfort zone. Do things specifically because they're uncomfortable. When you start seeking out those uncomfortable areas of your life, those uncomfortable things, it's when life starts to open up. It's when you start to actually make real progress, because it's usually where you're most uncomfortable that you have the most area for growth. Whether that be eating better, whether that be being on retention. Don't give yourself any kind of space for the excuse to take hold, for the excuse to actually mean anything. Because again, it's just an excuse. It's just something that's in your way, preventing you from doing what you should be doing. So push past that. Get to that new ground. And again, it might be a struggle, but it's when you put forth concerted, determined, determined effort that you actually start making progress. You might fail, but see those failures as fuel in your fire to reach further success. All right. Take care, y'all. Peace.